You are now tuned in to Papi Chulo Radio, your web portal for the best in pop culture news and interviews.
She is sticking her nose in my business, Zach!
This is a Papi Chulo Radio special announcement. PapiChuloRadio.com is currently looking to expand its web presence, and we're looking for your help. If you're a fan of Papi Chulo Radio and its signature series, please visit GoFundMe.com/PapiChuloRadio and help us with our campaign. Every dollar amount donated will be improving the Papi Chulo Radio experience and making it more interactive and user-friendly. We thank you in advance for your support. This has been a Papi Chulo Radio special announcement. We now return you to our regularly scheduled programming. The following is a Papi Chulo Radio original program. The views and opinions expressed in the commentaries and/or interviews in the following program are solely those of the individuals and are not views of Papi Chulo Radio, its parent, affiliate, or subsidiary companies.
Welcome to Summer Camp, a PapiChuloRadio.com and iTunes exclusive. Papi Chulo Radio, pop culture on demand. I'm your host and camp director, Maurice Gatewood. Tonight on Summer Camp, we are going to explore some of Hollywood's campiest flicks, cult classic motion pictures, and fan favorite films. All right, please welcome my co-hosts, my assistant director, the hip-hop legend himself, Mr. Dead Lee.
Hello, fairy cakes.
What's up?
What up?
Our director of residential life, the man from the future, Legionnaire.
Yes, like a juicy plum, dry mouths aren't permitted to touch.
And our first aid director, the one we call The Voice, Damian Nova.
You know, I said I was going to start like having a song for every movie that we do, but I could not figure one out for this shit. So just hey, y'all.
All right. And our activity leader, the artist currently known as Vanetta Berry.
Got nothing. I'm hey. Just hey, y'all.
Hey. And our head chef, serving it up hot and spicy as usual, Mr. Derek Anthony.
Your feet smell like cigarette smoke. I'm not here for it. Hey, everybody.
Before we begin, here's one of our campers on our PA system with a few announcements on how you can interact with us via social media.
Thank you for the intro, and sorry for the microphone feedback. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/PCR SummerCamp. Follow us on Tumblr, summercamp-pcr.tumblr.com. Follow Papi Chulo Radio on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, and YouTube at Papi Chulo Radio. Do you have any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns? Email us via contact@papichuloradio.com. Help support Papi Chulo Radio financially by visiting GoFundMe.com/PapiChuloRadio. Help support Papi Chulo Radio financially by visiting GoFundMe.com/PapiChuloRadio. Are you interested in joining the Papi Chulo Radio team as an on-air personality or blog contributor? Email talent@papichuloradio.com. Binge listen to your favorite Papi Chulo Radio programs by visiting papichuloradio.com/archives. You can also download tonight's broadcast and the rest of the series through iTunes. Just search for Papi Chulo Radio Summer Camp and subscribe. Now, grab some popcorn and some snacks. It's time for your feature presentation. Back to you, camp counselors. Oh, not again. Sorry for the feedback.
Thank you. All right, it's time to fire up the film projector so that we can discuss 2007's Descent. Here's the official synopsis of the film. Maya is an up-and-coming artist and college student. In the winter of her senior year, Maya attends a fraternity party and talks to a man named Jared. She accepts his invitation to dinner at a restaurant, then goes to his apartment just to talk. They start to make out, but when Maya tells him to get off, Jared soon reveals his true self and brutally rapes her while uttering racial slurs in her ear. When he is finished, Jared threatens Maya that if she ever tells anyone what happened in his apartment, he will deny everything while putting back on his nice guy facade and shifting the blame to her. Okay, so this might be a very special summer camp. You know? It might not be as zany as we usually are, but...
Tonight's a very special
dark.
Blossom.
Yeah, right. Whoa. Okay, so as usual, who has seen this one before? Let's start with you, Legionnaire.
No, I have not seen this before.
Damien Nova.
Not in its entirety, no.
Not in its entirety. Deadly.
First time seeing it. Can I say at first I started watching The Descent. I made a mistake on the God knows. And so I was watching The Descent, and then
Good movie.
and I was like, well, this is trashy. But then I decided to watch Descent, one we're actually talking about, and that was a mistake too. I don't know. Go ahead.
So many jokes I will not say tonight. Derek
I was unaware of this movie.
and Vanetta.
I have watched this movie before, and I went through a stalkerish phase with Marcus Patrick, so I tried to watch all of his movies, and this was one of them.
All right.
A little stalkerish, just a little.
That's okay. You got good taste. That's the most important thing. You know, restraining orders are one thing, but if you got good taste, you know. Okay, so I had not seen this movie. And I like me some Rosario too. So she's burning it up on Netflix these days, starring in 10 different shows.
Yes.
Getting them checks. All right, so I had actually I don't think I'd ever really heard of this movie. When it was out, apparently, you know, it opened to mix to. I think it confused people.
It's confusing.
You know, it's not The Accused. It's not like a lot of movies that are about this subject matter. I don't know why I'm saying subject matter like I can't say rape on the radio. This is a cuss on every show that we do. But I never heard about it. It's an interesting twist, I guess, in that they didn't play I don't know if they really played up like the fact that he was an athlete, because you kind of found that out after, right? You kind of found out.
He said it. He was talking about it. He was bragging about it when he was at the party. And when she finally gave him a chance and, you know, was listening to him, he was talking about how he's into football and how, you know, he's a big star on the football team. And she was like, kind of looking at him like, yeah, whatever.
Well, she knew the truth. That
was the second time.
Oh,
the first time when she met him at the party before he was all
he was dropping lines on her.
Yes. That's when he was bragging about being a football player. And then again, when they went to his house, she finds the Nerf football, and she tells a story about the Nerf football, and he was just kind of like, yeah. But she's like trying to connect with him because he's into football, and he was just. That's when his like true assholishness started coming out to me, because he was already like dickish when he first came up to her, but then he kind of redeemed himself, and they had some good talking, and then get to his house, and she's trying to connect to him, and he's just like, whatever. Yeah, let's go in the other room. Here's some wine. Rapey motherfucker. I didn't like him at all. Can you tell?
No.
When I
Don't feel bad. I didn't either.
When I first saw him, I was like, okay, this movie was 2007. He had very 90s hair. And
Is that what that was?
yes, and he looked like the little boy that was in the Terminator.
That's not a good reference.
With the little hair coming over one eye, it was very emo, And so that's why I was like, okay, he's supposed to be a football jock. I don't know. I mean, it was 2007. I thought he would have, he didn't really strike me as, But
I think it was also the thing that he was supposed to be a football jock, but when you see him in the scene with his team, he's kind of a loser.
Right.
So that's why he's all like, he had his own fucked up issues, and so yeah, I didn't like him.
Yeah, he wasn't a starter.
No,
he wasn't a starter, and he was not a star on the team at all. You got the feeling that he was privileged, though.
Yes.
I don't know if they maybe had more of a backstory for him and they cut it out or whatever, but he seemed very privileged and very,
I hope not.
Like he's used to getting what he wants. So he meets her at a party, and she's beautiful. I mean, I think she is, and he obviously knew she was, even though personally I don't like to think that people are out of other people's league, just based on the way they look or whatever, but she was out of his league. She was out of his league on so many levels, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not just her appearance, and she's obviously a smart woman. And one of the first things she says is that when he says, "Oh, there's a lot of girls at this party," she was like, "There's a lot of women." At this party. I knew, his rapey little mind did not like that, And so he had probably decided at that point he was going to teach her a lesson, and then there's that dynamic too. She's an African American woman, and she's more accomplished, academically than he is, and stuff like that. So she, I'm that, that all played into it. So, did anyone who had never seen this movie or ever heard of this movie know that this was the subject matter?
When they were at the party and the way he approached her, when he wouldn't let her go by, it kind of said to me, okay, yeah, I feel she's gonna get raped at some point.
Yeah, they telegraphed the rape. It was like, oh, he's a dick, she's gonna get raped. And I mean, the parts that I did see of this movie was the ass rape, and I've only seen that in passing while browsing on MyVidster. But I was like, okay, so where's the gay rape in this movie? Like, that's what I was looking for, because I knew he was going to get raped, but I was just wondering when he was going to get raped and by whom.
Was anybody surprised at the dialogue that it was so racial?
It was a little disturbing for me.
I have to say, I'm obviously disturbed by the rape, of course, but
Mhm.
I was surprised at the language that he used.
Mhm.
Not so much the N-word, but when he called her baboon.
Oh, but come on, like, I don't know. Maybe if I saw this movie before Barack Obama, but after Barack Obama days, all that stuff online that you saw people all trash talking about him, just did not surprise me.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some people out there that say some stupid shit.
It was jarring. It was jarring. It was but it wasn't surprising. Yeah, I got the feeling that he was going to assault her somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was just like beating her up, or whether it was rape or whatever.
The moment when she was like rejecting him, and you could see his face shift to something else. Like in the beginning, it was like, oh well, let me just talk to you right quick. Let's just have some sex and get it out the way. But then when she was rejecting him, you could see his face shift directly to rape. Like it went almost like, no, okay, I'm gonna get it because this is exactly what you want, and you want me because I'm white and privileged, and I'm going to give it to you regardless. And you could see like all of that was all over his face while he was talking to her. So when she didn't pick up on it, I was like, but you're supposed to be smart, right? I don't know. It's a lot of.
I mean, she had been drinking. She had. I'm
always but see, here's my thing. I'm always kind of. I understand there's a certain level of disbelief you have to have in some movies, but I don't know many women of color who were going to put themselves in that position.
Listen,
with somebody they were going to sleep with, and second, when the wheels start turning. When the wheels start turning, it looked like, oh, this motherfucker looked like he about to not take no for an answer. Let me find my handbag.
Yeah, but we don't want to get into the stereotype that black women don't get raped as much as white women.
Oh, I'm not saying that.
But I'm just saying, like, the situation like this was a date rape. There's so many, unfortunately, there's so many different situations where women are attacked. But this was almost, I hate to say typical because it sounds like I'm belittling what happened to her, but like date rapes are acquaintance rape, or probably would be called. So many women are. I think most women are raped by people they know.
Yeah, they know.
Yeah.
And so her guard was down. I don't think she was not being smart. I just think she was caught.
She didn't take precautions.
Right. I mean, and that moment when it changed from, them just kind of making out, and she's just like, okay, that's nah. That's when I'm sure, I can't say what was going through her head, because she's not a real person, but I'm sure that there was enough self-blame in there, like, that she was probably thinking, damn it, what the fuck am I, I mean, that had to then, like, going through her mind, like, I put myself in this situation, which compounds the problem too after the fact, So, did anybody think after he did what he did, and they sort of show her going through her life like
on autopilot?
Right, and then it was, and then that's when I had the moment that you're talking about, Derek. That's when I had the oh hell no, this is a black chick. She's not gonna let this shit go, But then I kind of felt like for a while, maybe maybe she's kind of just gonna try to act like it didn't happen, and then we're gonna see how it affects her life. But I was hoping that, that she would do something. And one thing that I did notice, which is kind of like real life, is that she didn't. Like, a lot of women don't report it.
No.
because they have to go through so much bullshit with the police, especially on campuses. Sometimes the schools will kick the girl out of school, you know. So that part of it didn't shock me, and I thought that was kind of realistic, I guess, in a way that she didn't, call the police and have to do a rape kit.
Trauma is real. Trauma is a real thing, and it's something that we really don't really talk about in the Black community enough. And dealing with trauma and sexual trauma and emotional trauma, we don't really talk about it like we should. And when women are faced with situations like that, they either like she sort of did. That was to me the most believable part of this movie. I thought the rapes probably was one of the least believable parts, only because if we're supposed to be getting this whole lead up that she's this smart girl, blah 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 blah, I felt like they sort of rushed into the rape. I feel like if she maybe had given him like 4 or 5 dates, and then he showed his true colors after that, then maybe I would believe the rape. But it just seemed like it just happened. It just felt like it just felt like we didn't get much about her, and we immediately she's raped, and it was like, oh, she's smart. Okay, now she's being raped, and it was like, I don't know if I buy that. But
but there's not. There's not like rape.
The way it was written.
It's not like
no. I'm just saying the way it was written. It's paced poorly, is what I'm saying. It's they gave us all this stuff in the beginning, like, oh, maybe she's a lesbian, or maybe she's this, or maybe she, and then it's like, okay, she's not a lesbian. Okay, all right, and then it was just paced. The beginning was really paced poorly, and then it came to a screeching halt in the middle, where all of a sudden now we're dealing with her trauma and her literally spiraling mentally, and it's like that was the rest of the movie, and it was like, but okay, all right. It was just paced badly. It was just paced bad. That's all I'm saying.
That she. Yeah, I agree with the beginning, because we got the sense that she's not someone who's very social, and maybe not really even liked that much. As far as like the other those girls at the beginning, I couldn't tell what was going on with them, and her.
Said you weren't going to come. They said you weren't going to come. I can't believe you came. Oh my God, there's a whole setup.
Yeah, that was like so she's not. So she's always an awkward person. She didn't strike me as a particularly happy, joyous person to begin with. So it's almost like this occurrence kind of.
She was already introverted. And it seems like if you're already introverted, and take this from an introvert, but it's like if you're introverted, you're more cautious about your surroundings than you are about anything else, especially when you go into a situation where you're not familiar. You don't know these people. I'm at this party. I don't want to be here, and it's like you're extra cautious. You're not as, oh, well, I'm here. Okay, well, I'll give you a chance. Let's talk. That just doesn't happen. And that's why I'm saying the beginning was paced so poorly, because if we're supposed to buy that she's an introvert and she doesn't go out that often and she's a smart girl, then why would she just all of a sudden just fall into, okay, well, yeah, no, I'll give this guy a chance, even though he has rape eyes. And I just didn't buy it. I didn't buy it.
There is something about that, I always describe myself as a unapologetic, radical, introvert, and being partnered with someone who is not, It's you look at situations differently. Like, oh, we're gonna go out and have fun tonight. I'm like, what are we gonna do? Well, we're going out. I'm like, well, we're going to the party, and then we're going to this mixer, and then we're going to this other. That's 3 different things. Where they'll look at it as just one night going out. I'm looking at it as 3 different situations that I have to adjust my brain to being in. Right. And as an introvert, that's what you do. And you can be the life of the party. You can, as an introvert, but it's draining. Like, you need more time to recover, whatever. So I was a little surprised that she wasn't more you know, I do agree with that she wasn't more sort of cautious. Who knows? You know, the alcohol. You know, I thought maybe he had drugged her or something, but she does not handle liquor well. You know,
Facts.
You know, wait. You know. It was a little sketchy. Some of the filmography of it too was a little too dark sometimes.
It was trying so hard to be artsy.
Yeah, I think there was one part where I was like, okay, are they trying to make this into some kind of art film, you know, with no
all those close-ups of her. Oh my god! And just drag on. They just dragged on and dragged on. I'm like, like a minute of slow motion close-up. I'm like, really?
Something that's often misrepresented with you know, with a lot of rape victims, what they don't portray in movies is a lot of time the act of rape is not the only thing that happens. A lot of times they're beat, they're beat, they're stabbed, their teeth are knocked out, they're cut, they're this, that, them thing. You know, they're very rarely like, you know, just genital contact and that's it. You know, I'm not saying I wanted to see her beat up and scarred and stuff like that, but you know, I've heard stories of women getting their fingers bitten off and just, you know, nose broken, and it's just crazy shit. It's never.
I'm with you. I'm with you with this.
It's not. You know, I don't like it.
That was my whole thing. That was my whole thing. Is I felt bothered with myself because I did not feel the whole rape stuff. Not one time. Not the first one. Not the second one. I was not. And if you're building the whole movie off of this rape, and I did not feel her pain, I did not feel like it was even that bad the way they filmed it. I'm like, this is my problem. Is
flashbacks of it.
Well, see, this is my problem. Is I actually didn't mind Jared. I thought he was a likable character. This was bad. And Maya, I did not like. And now, if you're making the rape victim someone who you do not like, that is not going to work in the movie because I had no sympathy for this girl.
You can't sympathize with her.
I could not sympathize with her. I did not feel for her at all. And I know it's wrong. And that's what was tripping me out about this movie. But I'm like, it's not my fault because, I mean, I think rape is bad. I'm not going to minimize rape. I think it's disgusting. But no.
No, I'm with you. I wouldn't say that I didn't like her, but I never felt connected to her enough to be sympathetic to her.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, there was no sense of, you know, I mean, yeah, like you said, I mean, clearly rape is awful, it's violent or whatever, but I don't know, I didn't feel connected to her enough that I was like, oh, that's really horrible. It was just like, oh, this is a bad act, and you know, I don't know, I didn't have the empathy for her that I would have wanted to have in a movie like this.
I wonder though if that was intentional, because there was at one point in the party when they first met, I thought she was kind of rude, you know, and I think it kind of flipped the usual idea of the victim that a lot of us have. Of course, she's beautiful, yes, but a lot of times in the movie, it's a pretty blonde co-ed who everyone likes and has the whole world ahead of her, and no.
You know, but check this out. Did you ever see that movie where Jodie Foster was raped?
Yeah, The Accused.
Yeah,
okay, The Accused. All right. Now, she came out. She was being a little hoe. She had this clothes. But I felt for her.
Exactly.
So it don't make no difference.
Exactly.
If you come out, you know, you shouldn't feel for her, but I did. And I really felt for her the whole time.
Right, because clearly she was a loose woman. She'd like to go out and get a hoe on and all that, you know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, she was able to convey it in such a like yes, she might have been loose, she might have gone out and got her groove on, but she still didn't deserve. But you really felt that yes, that should not have happened to her.
Exactly.
You felt horrible that happened to her. I didn't feel horrible that happened to this character. I just didn't. I mean, I wouldn't have wanted it to happen to any woman, but that I don't know, that feeling just wasn't there. And yeah, bringing up Jodie Foster in The Accused, that's a perfect comparison.
Mm-hmm.
I felt for her in the sense that It may have been me filling in the blanks, but I felt for her in that instant where it turned. Where it turned, I could, as a rational, I think I'm an intelligent person. When you find yourself in a situation where you feel like I've put myself in this situation, and that could be me filling in the blanks. It might, I don't know how well they portrayed it in the movie, but I was thinking she must be thinking, God damn it, how the fuck did I get myself into this, into this situation? And in that moment where it kind of when it changed in an instant like that, I did feel for her. I know it was not the most. It was a little too nuanced, I think. A lot of this movie. And I did think the rape scene looked a little too much like sex, and I know people are probably like, well, is it rape sex? But, most people will tell you it's not really sex. And I thought it was.
And see, that's bad. This is bad too when the racial slurs were worse to me than the actual rape. That bothered me more than the actual rape.
I want to say, as somebody who has been in date rape situations, it never looks like it does in the movies. This was like actually the most real of what it would look like.
I have to agree.
Simply because what you guys are describing is, the over the top, like somebody who doesn't know you, beats you or bites you or does all this stuff to you. But somebody who knows you, they're going to try not to leave a mark. They're going to be really, really quiet with it. They're going to try to make it appear for themselves, not for you, but for themselves. He wanted that to feel as much like consensual sex as possible.
Right.
But it wasn't. And the nuance was that she did say, like, she was like fighting the whole time, and he had her arms pinned, and she felt incredibly helpless. And then he even threatened her. And so the power was taken away, and that was the part that I think that she actually played really well. Yeah. I agree that her character was not set up well. We didn't get a lot of who she was. We didn't get a lot of them going out. It was supposedly not the same. It was like a couple of times.
It felt like the same night. Yeah, it felt like the same night.
Yeah. And so for me, looking at this and then going like watching that whole scenario play out, and then how she's just basically zombie walking through her life, and the people at her job are like, I wonder what she's like, and they don't know. And then she's like flipping the switch at night and going all super crazy and doing all this wild stuff. She's just trying to get away from those feelings. And so I looked at that. I looked at the entire piece as like, this is actually the closest thing I've ever seen to what a person might go through when they've been sexually assaulted by someone they know. And the fact that he's in her fucking class and she watches him cheat. That moment, I was just like, get his ass.
Can I ask you this? Do you think that he really believed that he raped her? I don't even think he really truly believed what he did was rape.
He couldn't have if he went right back.
I think he is so he's so entitled that he thought that he deserved.
Yeah. He thought he turned her out. In other words, like he was like, "Oh, I turned you out, and you want some more." Yeah, right. And it's
because it's the arrogance.
Well, they show all these studies that they do on college campuses these days, where all these men are like, "Well, this is not rape. This is not rape. This is not rape. This is not rape," and it's all it's all rape. They want to give it different names and everything, but at the end of the day, it's all rape. So, I'm with you. I don't think that if someone had asked him what he had done, he would have classified it as rape.
I mean, he acted like he did her a favor. It was really, and I have to say, as despicable as he was, the actor really, I mean, he nailed that part, as far as just.
Well, I mean, how far of a stretch?
I mean, I think so. Did you have? I mean, he was just smarmy, but I don't think he.
A white guy playing a smarmy white guy.
Well, we don't.
Yeah, he was brilliant.
You know,
he can be a real nice guy now.
He was very,
very James Spade. Was he James Spader?
Yeah, James Spade. Oh my God. Yeah.
He was always a smarmy white guy.
Yeah.
That is.
So we look at the dynamic and the circles. Like, you didn't really get this is the bad part about the beginning. You didn't get a good idea of who she was, in the sense, okay, she's African American, she's out of school, or most of her friends African American, or she primarily in white circles. I thought it was interesting that the more spiral out of control, and we've seen this in a couple movies, where characters spiral out of control, and then all of a sudden everyone around them is either black or brown. You know, it's like, what's that supposed to mean? You know, like when your life is wonderful, you're around all white folks. You know, but when your life spirals out of control, you're around people that look like you. You know, and that kind of was like, I'm not.
But this Marcus Patrick.
If you go to an all-white school, you don't have a choice. And basically, when she was spiraling,
that's true.
She went back to the hood. She wasn't staying on campus anymore.
Marcus Patrick does not. I do not see hood when I see Marcus Patrick. Though. I'm sorry.
No, he's British.
His character was supposed to be.
But I did not. This is my problem. This is the first time I've seen him in a movie. I thought he was just a naked dude on Tumblr. I always see his naked ass on Tumblr. I had no idea he was even an actor. And then I was like, oh, this is an act. And I had to go back and see he's been in movies. He was in soap operas and stuff. But I'm like, I did not buy his character one bit.
No.
The very end scene when he raping this boy, it was the worst fuck in the world. I'm like, this is a boring ass fuck. It almost looked like Jared was enjoying it for 1 minute.
He did.
And I was like,
he did. That was the whole thing. That was the funniest part about it.
So I was like, this is not working.
He made him enjoy it.
It did not work though. It did not work. And even him talking. Did you hear him talking? He was like, I'm gonna make you feel this little puta. I'm like, oh, dude, this is the worst fucking bullshit ever. I'm like,
please stop
talking.
So,
but I love him.
Please stop talking.
Was anything? Well, I kind of felt like, okay, so now this Instagram model is gonna come fuck him, and he's going to be devastated, and we're going to see the end results, and she's going to videotape it, and the whole football team's going to see it, and you know. But then
what is she writing?
But I'm wondering though. Was anyone else expecting it to be like a sort of like group thing, like, you know, like multiple?
No, I really thought she was going to do some
damage,
spit on my grave, like some spit on my grave type shit.
Right.
Because I mean, I Spit on Your Grave to me is the ultimate rape revenge movie. The original and the remake. The remake is amazing.
The remake was my god.
The remake is so vicious. But when they rape her in I Spit on Your Grave, it's not just violent, it's not just sexual, it's mental. Like, they're messing with her head. It's so visceral, and it's like 25 minutes of it.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the movie is her messing with their heads and then being violent with them physically and sexually. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen. That's a rape revenge.
It's a revenge movie.
Yeah, it's a rape revenge movie, and it's from the 70s. So you know, that's my wheelhouse. But this right here, I felt like they were more concerned about showing us her mental state than showing us exactly the way she got her revenge. But then they added this Lestat sort of element to it, where she all of a sudden became a vampire out of nowhere, and then. Now, I'm going to get revenge on you. I'm going to sick Lestat on you. And then here comes Lestat. And then he has sex with him, and then she turns around and she's in tears. It's like, girl, if you don't pick up a hammer, like it's like it was like, this is supposed to be a revenge film, and you're letting the vampire Lestat. You're supposed to be Akasha in this. Where is Akasha in this? I was just very disappointed.
I was thinking, you know, he would have had some scars.
Okay, do you guys ever see Extremities with Farrah Fawcett?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
She showed no mercy. Now that's how you do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think
he invaded her home though. That's a different feeling when somebody breaks into your house and says they're gonna rape you. It's like, oh, wait a minute, let's rewind that. You said what? Oh, okay. You know, and it's like, you know, that's a completely different feeling than, oh, we're gonna date and then you're gonna rape me. You know, Extremities is one of my favorite movies. I've been trying to find it on Blu-ray forever. I love that movie too. And then her roommate comes in and sees him locked up in the fireplace. I love it. Oh, I love that movie.
But I see. I'm kind of thinking about what Vanetta was talking about earlier. When you're in an acquaintance rape type situation.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to see more of, you know, how she interacted in a school situation, just, you know, to me, they seem to kind of want to touch on her psychological.
They wanted to,
but they didn't really get there. The introduction of Adrian. I was kind of like, well, you know, they just showed bits and like they were showing like a flash of his face.
The editing.
I didn't understand why he took interest in her. I didn't understand that whole taking her.
What is it
home,
about?
The
Alfie.
other women that were in the house.
You know,
none of that got.
They kind of look like brother and sister. You know, why didn't they write the movie where he was her brother or whatever? I mean, you know, and then there was the whole thing where he was. Like I'm not gay or I ain't no faggot or whatever, which you've obviously done it before, you know.
And just had normal gay sex in this movie, and then all of a sudden now you're angry that you don't. I don't help me. Was the woman when she woke up and saw the woman, was she psychic? Because all of a sudden she's looking in her eyes. You have the eyes that you have weak eyes and blah, blah, blah. Girl, who are you? Like you.
I was kind of like, is this gonna turn into some kind of supernatural?
That's why I said it went real vampire all of a sudden, just out of nowhere. Like without the vampires, it just went real vampire.
I thought it was gonna be some like Santeria and shit going on, you know, but no.
Oh my god, that would have been a great movie. That would have been amazing.
You know, I think it bordered on trying to be too real and then not being real
at all.
Yeah. I just thought a lot of it was just this was somebody's student film.
And
there was a lot of things in it. Like when the guy wakes up in the other girl's room. The rapey guy, I can't remember his name. When he wakes up in the other girl's dorm room and gets dressed and leaves her there, and then he takes this long walk through the hallways. Okay,
I think they were trying to show that his life basically went on as normal.
Oh yeah,
you know, but it was almost like a musical montage moment without music. You know, like you almost could hear like. The Partridge Family, come on, get happy. You know, he was just kind of like, oh, my life's the same, and I'm chest bumping and shaking hands with my boys, and you know, my life hasn't changed at all. So, but so okay, let's talk about the moment of truth, I guess you'd call it. When he was telling her, "Am I doing it? Am I doing it right? Is this enough? Whenever I need water and all this stuff." Did you get the feeling that she had just like detached, like it didn't matter anymore? Like she wasn't even paying attention to it. You know, did you feel like she got redemption?
There was no
like-
lead up to it. That's the
Yeah.
problem. There was no lead into it. It would have been something if she had been victimizing men throughout the rest of the movie, where because you see her in the clubs and everything, and she's talking to all these guys and all that, and she becomes quote unquote promiscuous. I guess that's what they were trying to say she was.
Yeah.
But it would have been different if she was raping men, and then all of a sudden she found him again, and she's like, "Oh yeah, this is the big game," and
because she even said
you know,
like, "I'm just like you," and I don't believe that she's just like him.
Yeah, I didn't understand. I agree with Vanetta that, you know, because I was raped, but I was raped by a bunch of guys, and they took me into behind a club, and they brutally raped me. So after that, I went through, like, I was coasting through life on autopilot too. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it wasn't like alcohol or drugs or something that I was trying to deal with, it was just me being a victim with other people and constantly living the life of a victim. And that's what I saw for a minute. And then they flipped it, and they sort of just made her like, well, I'm human and you're human. We both have cardinal desires and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, okay. That is not at all where I would have gone. Not that I'm saying that every rapist or every rape victim has the same mentality when they've been raped. However, there is a disconnect, a physical disconnect, an emotional disconnect that you have. And I love Rosario Dawson, but she did not portray that well in this. She just didn't. I don't know.
Do you feel like the act of being raped would not have made you all of a sudden more knowledgeable about how to seduce people and how to manipulate them sexually? Because that's what it seemed like. It's like, oh, I've been raped. Now I know how to manipulate people sexually and how to. When I would think it would be the opposite. It would make you go more into yourself and like she all of a sudden became this master manipulator and this sexual.
Did she?
Yeah.
I think that's what they were trying to show. I think again they just
it didn't work.
It
didn't work.
You know, and
I felt like if that's what they were trying to show, they would just show her drunk, and then I'm gonna tell you, most of the people that she was talking to when she was out at the clubs, they seemed like they were interested at first, and then when she showed her sloppy drunkenness, they were just like, ugh, never mind. But then they would fade to black.
Because that big thick dude that was talking to her at the club, he seems really interested, and then he kind of like just turned, his whole body just kind of turned.
Yeah. I know they were just trying to show her, oh, she's a mess now because she's been raped by this guy. I know that's basically what it was. Oh, she's a mess, but it could have. There's so much they could have done with that 40 minutes of movie.
You know what hurt too is I think we did not see. I think nudity just adds to the whole rape thing too. I don't know, and we didn't see. It was just clothes. They're very, we didn't see anything. I don't know. I just felt like maybe that would have like given us like for her rape, their clothes were on except for whatever he, took down his pants and pulled up her skirt or something.
Right. I mean, it was not. I mean, like Minetta was talking about it. I kind of think that's how a lot of women who are like raped on the bus or raped on the subway or raped on you're not getting full on. A lot of it. It's just like, it's like that. It starts with somebody grinding up on somebody, and then the next thing so it's not very sensational. I just kind of felt like I understand her mood becoming darker, but I didn't understand the sort of savviness, unless she planned that out with Adrian. But they should have shown that. They should have shown some kind of like Adrian, like this is what we're gonna do, because obviously they planned it. So I don't understand why they didn't show some kind of interaction with Adrian and her saying, him saying, okay, we're gonna get this motherfucker or whatever, something. Because it just
felt like he was in the room when she had him in there, and he was just in the room and just happened to be there and was like, okay, no, I'll do this too. It was just like,
Yeah, I mean, she obviously had to know him well enough to know that he would fuck another guy in the ass, you know. So I would have wanted to see some kind of back story leading up to that moment. I mean, I had the feeling someone else was there. I actually thought it was going to be more people there. Maybe even one of his little football friends or something. But you needed more
character development.
Yeah, and there were a lot of blanks, and there were a lot of blanks that my mind kind of filled in, like what they were thinking and what would have gotten them to this place and stuff like that. So, yes. But I mean, as far as casting goes, what did you guys think? Other than, I thought obviously Rosario Dawson, she's very
Marcus Patrick, yay.
Marcus Patrick would have worked better for me. He would have worked.
He didn't talk.
He would have worked better for me if they had not
let him talk.
Was he supposed to be? Was he supposed to have a Puerto Rican accent? Is that what that was supposed to be?
But that accent only came on when he was fucking the dude, and he was like, "Hello."
It came on when he was making the guy smoke from his toes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was Antonio Banderas all of a sudden.
Yeah, he was the worst. The worst.
He doesn't need to speak. He can speak.
Agreed.
I don't care. I'm just
if they were gonna make
stalkerish.
Let your body be your English.
If they were gonna make him, like, because he's a beautiful, beautiful guy. Okay.
I don't think so.
And he's pretty. I wonder if the casting would have worked better. I wonder if the casting would have worked better with someone who was maybe not so. He looked a little model-esque, and I'm not saying there aren't thugs out there who could walk from the street.
He's boring. Just tell it that.
Runway, But I'm just saying, would it have worked better if he wasn't?
It would have worked better with some more characterization.
It would have worked better with a better actor. It doesn't matter how pretty he is. If he was pretty and like this sort of beautiful, dark sort of figure in her life that is going to take all of her pain and brutalize it, then I totally would have been on board with that. But he just seemed like, oh, well, this guy is here. Let's show his naked body. It's like, let's show him getting head in the shadow and then waking up with the two people that he had sex with the next day. See, this is a movie.
Halle Berry and Swordfish is what you're saying.
Well, I am glad that
I don't know about that. I like Swordfish.
I kind of like that movie too, but I'm glad that they didn't. I'm glad that they didn't do the typical thing and get the darkest person they could find to play that role because he was a rapist too. I mean, so I making him pretty. I don't know. I guess I agree with you. If they had a little bit more character development,
yeah. And he was a better actor.
I don't know if the role really called for that big of a stretch. As far as dialogue, he didn't really have that much.
But he could have acted with no dialogue at all, and it would have been powerful. And it's almost as soon as he opened his mouth, he killed it. Like it was like he was almost intimidating at first. It was like, okay, he's sort of striking, and then as soon as he started talking, it was like, oh, you're boring.
You're boring.
I don't like you.
Right? Yeah, he lost a little bit of menace he had going for me when he started talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because good bad guys don't do all that talking.
Well, I don't know
if that's what he was. If that's what he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I don't even know if. Okay, so he was a DJ, right? What was he?
Is that what DJ?
Was he a DJ? I just
come over to my
DJ
club.
and a
I'm
bartender.
DJing tonight.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I thought, okay, he's striking. Did they have any kind of, thing going on or whatever?
We don't know. We don't know.
That's what bothered me. That's what
He's
bothered
just
me.
my YouTube friend, and I just love him. So
I saw one
I
of his
watched him
YouTube
on
videos.
YouTube, and he used
He's
to.
going to outer space to do an alien things. I saw him.
You know,
He used to do juicing in his underwear,
Oh Lord.
and like me and my homegirl, we just watched them for weeks. Just like, oh my God, he posted another one. He's in his underwear again.
well,
That
they
one
put
he had a heart
pictures
on.
of him with nothing on. I haven't seen them, but I mean that's the reason he
I've
was
seen them.
fired.
They're
He
really
was
nice.
fired from his soap opera because of that, which I thought was kind of ironic since some of the stuff that's promoted on soap operas isn't like wholesome, you know. But that's why he was fired from his soap.
Well, hey, American Gladiators have been fired from being American Gladiators because they were porn stars. So, I mean, you know, what can you say?
Wholesome America.
Right. Get rid of all the porn and the drugs, and our economy would tank. You know, we're talking trillions of dollars, billions of dollars. You know,
Billions, yeah.
Billions. You know, but yeah. So I mean, okay, there wasn't really much of a cast. I thought that the professor was a little odd. I thought that the guy that played the professor was a little strange. And I was like, was he channeling John Malkovich or what? His delivery was a little strange.
Strange compared to what, though?
Well, just like he sounded like he was. He's like,
No, I mean,
just
but
like,
everybody's delivery was strange in this movie.
He was just giving me this kind of Donald Sutherland / John Malkovich kind of vibe. You know, it was just like Professor Byron. That's who he was. James Stevens. You know, I'm looking at the cast and some of these people. It's like, you know, Denise, upstairs guy, construction girl. That's how deep the cast was. After the first four or five, you know, when the fourth main cast member is Bodega Girl. Okay, you know that there's a small cast in this movie.
And she's on CSI New Orleans now.
Vanessa Ferrero?
Yep. Bodega Girl.
There's a CSI New Orleans?
Yes. There's
Yep.
No, I'm sorry, NCIS New Orleans.
NCIS.
I don't know what that is. Okay.
She was also on that other show with that beautiful boy, Daniel, whatever his name is. I can't remember the name of it. But it was like they were all undercover agents and they had to live in this beach house.
Brian House?
Oh, I know what show you're
on
talking.
USA. And they were all undercover agents for different agencies, and they had to live in this house.
Yeah, I think
as
that show
their
was
cover.
lasted for 2 seasons. That was shocking.
Graceland.
Oh,
It
yeah.
started with a G.
That show sounds really realistic.
It was
completely realistic.
Everything on TV is realistic.
It was everything
And
they
then
watched.
everything on the internet, especially if it's on the internet, then you have to believe it's true. Because it's on the internet.
Amazing.
This is normally the time where I would look for awards, but I don't see any.
I don't think anybody.
There are any.
Should we give out?
I think
a
we
few
should
of
give it a "We Like Marcus's Ass" award.
Let's. Well, we will
Speak
have
for yourself, girl.
We will have an award. We will have an award that coincides with that. So let's give out a few of our awards. Okay, since this is not really a comical type movie.
Or a movie at all.
Let's go with
Again, it comes off as somebody's student project.
Let's give out a few of these. How about the creepiest moment? Yeah, like these don't really. I mean, we have
Putting
the
her
shot.
toes all up on Marcus. Why was she putting her toes all up on him? That makes sense.
Yeah.
That was weird.
You're cold. You're cold. I'm like, what, bitch? Get your feet. Man. Get your toes off of me.
You don't know me like that. Why are your feet touching me?
She did have her toes were done though. I'll give her that.
I wouldn't mind Rosario Dawson's toes being on me.
Yeah, but her feet, she had nice feet.
I wouldn't.
You know, some of these, I mean, they all apply. The oh my god moment, the barf bag moment, the I can't believe I just saw that moment, the you know, there's so many.
Well, I can't believe I just saw that moment was when he agreed to go back to her house.
Yes. Why would he do that?
And then let her tie him up.
But that was another moment where I filled in the blanks, and I was like, he's so arrogant that he still thinks he's in control of the situation. Yeah. And there's nothing possibly like he still thinks he did her a favor, you know, like he stooped to, you know, bless her with his, you know, whatever. So I can believe it. Up to a point though, I was just like, you know, is he gonna finally wake up and realize, but it was too late then.
That he's in danger.
You in danger, girl.
I knew you were gonna say
he
that.
He actually didn't realize he was in danger until long after he was tied up. I mean, he's still thinking that he's about to get it. That she's really like, oh, she's about to take it.
Yeah.
He's like so happy, and then she was like, I don't hear your voice. You know, and then he still thought he was gonna get it.
He's like, you there?
It wasn't what he wanted.
Well, she gave something to him.
She gave it to him.
Yeah. So that
she didn't know.
And what did she paint on him? Did we ever get to see that?
They never showed it. That
really
right. Me off.
I mean, clearly something important because you made the point of it.
Spent 10 minutes on it.
I thought she was gonna.
I mean, the only thing that came from that was she had the paintbrush in order to, you know, begin the procedure of opening his back door.
No, the stupid editor cut that just so we could see her face for another extra 5 minutes closer.
I thought she was gonna write something on him and then take a picture of it and then show it to the world like rapist or something. But I don't know. So let's rate this puppy. Okay, we're gonna rate it on a scale from 1 to 10 marshmallows, and I'm gonna start with Deadly.
Well, who's the homie that started the thing with Showgirls? At least it ain't Showgirl. Yeah, my thing is that at least it got made. At least it ain't Descent, because this thing was a piece of shit. Rosario, I'm sorry, I've liked her in a few things, but she did not give me anything here. Marcus Patrick was an empty vessel. I don't know what he was even doing in that thing. Seeing one of those mannequins gives me more life than Marcus Patrick. And Jared, this is sad, when Jared, the rapist, is the only person I thought was good in the whole damn movie.
Ooh.
So I'm giving it a 1.
No VBA. No Vanetta Berry Brent Stick Award.
No.
All right, Derek. Let's hear it.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to give this one a 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to go watch an episode of Pushing Daisies after to feel better about myself and life in general. Because it's a student project to me. It's like, okay, I'm in a film class and this is my final. You know, and you know, you gotta see on it because there's some things that were clearly missing. So to be an actual movie that got made and put on film and released in a theater, yeah, I'm gonna give you a 3 on this one.
It's funny you said that because I went to go see The Leftovers to make myself feel better. So you know that's bad if that
Wow.
Leftovers makes you feel better.
Wow. All right, Vanetta.
It was not an entertaining film, and I mean, I did get to see Marcus's ass, but I give it a 5 because I did get to see Marcus, and that was the whole reason why I watched it. And then Rosario was like icing on the cake, and then the storyline was like, oh yeah, there's a story. So I was okay with it.
Okay.
So I give it 5.
All right, Mr. Damien Nova.
It gets -5 marshmallows. This is one of the worst movies I have ever seen in my entire life.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
It is edited poorly. It is acted poorly. The music is bad. The pacing is bad. The tone is bad. Everything about this movie is garbage. I don't want to see anything like this ever again in my entire life, or I will shoot myself in the head, bring myself back to life, kill the person who edited this, and then shoot myself again.
Don't say that. You haven't seen the rest of the movies for the rest of the season.
Oh my god.
So is that can we count that as a Vanessa Berry Grant Stick Award?
No, it doesn't even get a stick from me. I am not at the party.
The Damien Nova, we got to come up with a Damien Nova negative black hole award.
I think that's it. Damien Nova, I'm not at the party.
And
Wow.
Mr. Legionnaire.
I'm gonna give it 2 marshmallows because Vanetta got to see Marcus's ass.
I'm glad you were happy for me.
I am.
If only he made some juice. We're doing it.
Those are awesome videos.
Because the man I would have wanted to see rape him would have looked a lot different. But that's
would it have been the brother in the club that was talking to her initially?
Well, you know. I will neither confirm nor deny.
No, we're not on here casting rapists.
All I'm saying is, if it's a revenge rape, it should be a pleasant revenge rape.
Just saying.
I think I will give this movie a just under 5 for marshmallows.
Huh.
And a slightly singed stick.
Slightly singed.
It was janky. It was janky, but I kind of saw what they were trying to do. My brain was filling in the blanks. I do that sometimes, and I think about stuff that they aren't showing on the screen. I'm sitting there thinking, she's got to be thinking this, or he's got to be thinking that. But I know what you guys are thinking. But then they needed to put that on film. You know that saying about good intentions and the road to hell, but I do think that it was, it had some merit to it, so I'll give 4.5 stars.
Look, not even the person that was giving the speech at the graduation said anything worthwhile. I was at least on pins and needles thinking she was going to say something good. I'm like, at least this might relate to the whole movie, and we're going to understand she's going to say something valid. She said 3 words, "You are it." I'm like, really? Really?
I was like, bitch.
Oh. This is supposed to take me through my life. You are it.
You are it. Like you've never heard that before, Dilly. Don't even try it. I say that to you every
My
show.
graduation was way better than that. Bill T. Jones danced at our graduation. That was his address. So yeah, it was better than "You Are It."
You are it.
Mine was learn how to apply for a credit card.
Difference between art school, man. Regular school, art school.
Yeah. I did go to a conservatory. So, yeah.
So 5 stars was the highest of the night for this cinematic
poop.
Those marshmallows were specifically all about Marcus.
All right, y'all. It's time for everyone to report back to their cabins. Your bunk beds are waiting for you. Join us next time for a brand new installment of Summer Camp. Once again, here's one of our campers on our PA system with a few announcements on how you can interact with us via social media.
Thank you for the intro. Binge listen to your favorite Poppy Chulo Radio programs by visiting poppychularadio.com/archives. You can also download tonight's broadcast and the rest of the series through iTunes. Just search for Poppy Chulo Radio Summer Camp and subscribe. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/PCR Summer Camp. Follow us on Tumblr, summercamp-pcr.tumblr.com. Follow Poppy Chulo Radio on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, and YouTube at Poppy Chulo Radio. Do you have any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns? Email us via contact@poppychuloradio.com. Help support Poppy Chulo Radio financially by visiting gofundme.com/poppychuloradio. Help support Poppy Chulo Radio financially by visiting gofundme.com/poppychuloradio. Are you interested in joining the Poppy Chulo Radio team as an on-air personality or blog contributor? Email talent@poppychuloradio.com. Now, back to you, camp counselors.
Thank you. My fellow camp counselors, please wish our campers and the listeners a good night.
Good night.
Fade to black.
Don't let me catch you out there smoking between your toes.
Thanks for tuning in. Good night and lights out.